Anyway, the main event, Bryan Danielson and Okada, and they had a great main event. It was not as great as I expected, and part of the reason for that, there were two reasons.
There's a couple
number
reasons.
one, the crowd was not as into this as they could have been, probably
because of the
and
Ospreay
I'm not even going to say
match.
probably. It was the Ospreay match.
It's because of the Ospreay Omega match. They couldn't get up. You know, I mean, if we had known what we knew, okay, Ospreay and Omega should have gone last. However, when I heard that Okada and Danielson was going last, I actually thought, you know what, you put Omega and Ospreay. I wouldn't have put them third from the top, maybe fifth, and then like maybe the Willow match after, you know, or something like that, which would killed that match. But just a little bit of like that. Even though I'm more into the traditional thing, you know, where you whatever. But I know that match was going to be really hard. And even though they kind of got into the Jericho match too, you know, because the Jericho, excuse me, the Jericho and Sting stuff was that novelty of never having been done before. That was a really big deal. But when it came to this match, like it was over. Danielson came out to Final Countdown, which was a one-time thing, and I don't know what the number was. But Tony Khan said it was like the price of a wrestler contract. So I'm thinking that it's a six-figure deal to do that. Man, I don't know. It's like 6 figures for that pop, but he did it, you know, and God bless him. You know, I mean, he's probably still going to be making a lot of profit with his company in a year or two when he gets that new deal. So I guess it's okay. But and maybe he is now even with the new deal with the current deal. I don't know, but because I don't know the terms of the current deal, but. Yeah, it's like the crowd was very into it. They were chanting for both guys. Okada was really over. I thought that the timing of some of the stuff they did was exceptional, you know, and their execution was good. Like Okada, it was like a great Okada match, you know, where you get that drop kick out of nowhere and it looks fantastic and Danielson, everything Danielson does is good, but it was not. It never reached that level, and some of it also, you know, Danielson broke his arm. He broke his forearm.
Well, yeah, they did a spot and they ended up on the ramp, and Okada gave him a tombstone on the ramp, and then he threw him into the ring and he hit a flying elbow, and Bryan said he had his arm in the wrong spot, and so he broke his arm, and at that point they did a spot. Which I presume they came up with this on the fly because he broke his arm, but he acted like he was having a seizure, which a lot of people did not like that spot at all. And so the doctor came into the ring to check on him. And then it was really weird, like the doctor's checking on this guy who allegedly is having a seizure in storyline, and Okada just walks up to the doctor and goes, get out of here, buddy. And so the doctor got out of the ring. And Okada picks him up, starts beating his ass more, and then Bryan makes a big comeback. And, you know, he's doing this whole comeback, and he's got his arm by his side. And, you know, some of these spots, Okada had to grab the wrist for the, you know, the Rainmaker and everything. So, you know, he's not using the arm, but every now and then he has to use the arm for something. And, you know, I was sitting there watching that going, this guy is either the best worker I ever saw in terms of selling, or he's got a fucked up shoulder or arm. Ended up being the arm. And
yeah,
so
Andrade,
at the end,
Andrade sold the same way last week.
This was way better because I knew that Andrade's was doing the.
Yeah, it's way better because it was real.
Well, yeah. So I mean, if this had been a sell job, it would have been way better than Andrade, but it wasn't because he broke his arm, and then finally he puts on the label lock, and so you know he has to clasp his hands for the label lock, but he can't get his arms clasped, and so he ends up using his leg to also armbar Okada in a modified label lock, and he ends up tapping out. And so Bryan won. And, you know, I watched the finish, and I was just watching him manipulate everything with his legs because his arm didn't work. And I thought, this guy may be so smart that he worked this arm to do this finish where he used his legs to submit Okada. But it turns out he just did it because he had a broken arm. And he'll be out 6 to 8 weeks.
And he thought on the fly.
Yeah.
It was amazing. You know, they changed, like, I don't know how much they changed, but they changed the last several minutes of the match because they had to.
Well, they had to, yeah.
Yeah.
So Bryan won, and certainly gets the impression they're going to do a rematch at some point, that Okada will win on a New Japan show, but I guess we shall see. But he was in good spirits. He had his arm in his sling at the press conference, and, talked about how he wanted to go and break Okada's arm next time, and had a list of guys he wanted to wrestle, and,
so he thinks he'll be out 6 to 8 weeks, but given that, he hasn't had X-rays and everything like that, it may be premature. But so he also mentioned that he is recovering from a torn labrum that he got in the match with Max, which is why he's done so little wrestling so far this year. He tore his labrum.
And a compressed vertebra.
Well, now, where was that from?
I think he said the MJF match as well.
Oh, man. It's like, you're getting, that match was a brutal match. That's the one thing is like with these matches at that level where you're hitting so hard and you're doing stuff like that, it's the thing is like there was a generation like Ric Flair and Barry Windham and these guys, 35 years ago, Ricky Steamboat, they could do a match of the year and they could do it twice on the same day. And these guys are doing matches that are, like you can't, you can do it every couple of months. These guys, like the one thing about the AEW is the guys have at times they go so far in the match because they know that they got like a week or longer to rest, even maybe usually 2 weeks, that there's like not the thing of like, dude, I got to be able to do my match tomorrow. You know what I mean? They don't have that in their head. And so it enables them and to mentally think of going much farther. And that's why, like, in AEW, there is, it's one of those things. I first heard that when I would talk to the All Japan guys. And this is in the 90s when, everybody else was doing 52 weeks a year and they're doing 28. But they'd do like 3 week on and then do like 3 weeks off type of a thing, right? So they would do the Budokan, and it's like, I don't got to wrestle for 3 weeks. I'm going to go home. I can rest. So they would go out there. But if you look at history and what happened is all those guys ended up fucked up, whether it was painkillers, whether whatever, because they would go so far out thinking, hey, I can rest for 3 weeks, which a guy in the United States could not do that because they had to work the next day. So, it's like, the best kind of matches of the year, like to me, are still like your Zack Sabre stuff, because it's just like, it's so technical and it's so fun to watch, but you're not killing yourself. But with Danielson, Danielson doesn't work reckless at all. It's just, but it's like he works so hard and man, it's a lot of injuries. For a guy who's done 2 singles matches, he's done 2 singles matches in the last couple months, and gotten hurt in all of them. And I know this one was more of a fluke. The Max match was just so brutal, but man, just hopefully that you start piling up injuries like that. It's not a good thing either.
You can also find me at Vincent Verhey on Cameo.
Oh, my God.
I will send you a happy birthday wish. I will send you a happy anniversary wish.
Granny, you ever thought about being on Cameo?
What is it? My computer, my front page is Microsoft, and I go through there and see all kinds of lies and stuff like that. And here you are, you're doing a commercial, and then you had me on there when I was ranting about WrestleMania. Did you get my permission?
Oh, okay. Wait,
What?
Just stop for a second. Your front page is Microsoft.
I guess.
I don't even know what that means, your front page is Microsoft. What do you mean you go through there and see all the lies? What does that mean?
Well, they have a whole bunch of stuff, about this and that and this and that, all kinds
like
of news.
Like the news?
News?
I don't post the videos. I don't edit the videos. If you saw some video or some commercial, I have no idea what it is or where it came from or who edited it together. I'm sure it was someone from the site. It's not Tony, and it's not Dave, and it's not me. And it's not Vinny. He's busy doing cameos.
That's right.
If you enjoy these videos, for just $7.99 per month, you can enjoy full-length editions of The Brian and Vinny Show, Wrestling Observer Live, Figure 4 Daily with Tom Lawler and Lance Storm, the Mad Men Podcast, Speak Now Pro Wrestling with Denise Salcedo, and more, plus hundreds of archived shows, all in beautiful HD. Don't miss out. Join us today.